It is extremely serious. Japan signed 4 treaties with China. The first 2 that recognize that Taiwan is an integral part of mainland China and there's no separation. The other 2 agreements were signed, said that if there's any dispute, that they will sit down and talk about it, not put it into the press. So at this juncture, things are going from bad to worse. She uttered this idea that somehow Japan has an interest in what happens to Taiwan and that they would intercede militarily if there was any attempt to take over Taiwan by China. Then doubling it down after there was a furor about it, and even she was called by Donald Trump telling her to knock it off. She was then decided this was the right time to start putting missiles on an island which is 150 miles away from Taiwan. So these are provocative actions, and it is having real results. You got to remember that Japan has a 20% exposure in terms of trade to China. China's exposure to Japan is 5%. But if you start looking at the actual trade, all right, there's so many things that Japan will not be able to export because they need certain types of materials, including rare earth elements, certain strategic metals that are used in high tech. The only disputed area that's in contention now is called the Diaoyu Senkaku Islands. And in those particular cases, they were never Japan's to begin with. What happened after World War II is the US said to Japan, you have to give up all your colonial possessions, including these islands, but you will continue to administer them. Administer does not mean you own them. These were areas were traditionally held by China. You have to remember that prior to World War II, Japan invaded China and held large parts of it, including northern Manchuria, where they set up a puppet government. During that period, including World War II, 35 million Chinese died from direct war injuries or because of what the Japanese did in terms of looting the country, taking grain and necessary and medicines, etc., and stripping the country bare. So this is not something way in the past, all right? This is current history. There are people alive still today who remember the rape of Nanjing. 300,000 people were mercilessly killed. Babies were slaughtered. Women were raped. This is not going to go away, and until she retracts that statement, it is going to continue to be economic harm. Now, she's trying desperately to maintain her idea of being an iron lady. Just as she said, she wants to be like Margaret Thatcher. But she will be a short-term prime minister because she cannot deliver. Remember, she might be popular right now, but she was not elected by the Japanese people. They're happy because she's put a red line through too much tourism, right? As I said, 3% of GDP, but that has real-term effects in local communities where there are many, many tourists who are driving up the costs of everyday living and also things at the same time that they're providing opportunities and livings to other people.